All right, so today we have Stuart and Theresa Warner, and can you guys just kind of introduce yourselves a little bit, tell us about maybe how you met and how long you have been married and where you are now in life and business?
Well, certainly, and appreciate the invitation to be on the podcast. We love hanging out with other husband and wife teams. And, we fortunately met at Life Chiropractic College down in Marietta, Georgia. I was towards the end of the curriculum there, and she was near the beginning. And I was actually president of one of the extracurricular clubs. And at the beginning of school, we're all, set up for the incoming students to be able to visit and see, what's around. And she happened to be walking by the booth, and there was no interaction at that point, but I definitely noticed her when she walked by with all the other students. And then she actually showed up at that club, and we finally met at that point. And we'll talk a lot more, but fast forward, we'll be married 25 years.
Wow, very good.
So, we got to be able to spend the last couple of years of while she was finishing up school, I stayed down in Georgia. So not to get into too much too quick, but that was a big decision when, I graduated chiropractic college, and Terry still had another 2 years left, and I was always planning on going back to New Jersey to start practice, but I ended up staying in Georgia, and I ended up doing a lot of odd jobs at different chiropractic offices and doing a lot of outreach and waiting for her to get through school. And finally, as she was nearing graduation, I came back to New Jersey, started the practice, and then she joined in a month later.
Wow.
Yeah, and then quickly we had gotten married right away. We started our practice right away, and just kept it booming from there. Very exciting. And about 10 years later, we started our family and have 3 beautiful children and cats and all kinds of 3 cats and a busy life that we really enjoy.
All right. So when you were getting done with school, initially how did you guys approach starting your bit? I mean, I know you started first and then she joined later. Like what was your thought process and what were your goals? Did you consider opening separate practices? Or did you always know you wanted to be together? What was your thought process going into that?
Well, since our passion was serving children and pregnant women, in the clinics at Chiropractic College, we actually developed as students a pediatric practice in school. Both of us did that. So we knew right when we opened our doors that that's what, we wanted to do. So, we had the same vision, mission, purpose, and, there was never a thought of not practicing together and growing it together. And we had a good opportunity out of school where I could rent space in a building that was empty on Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday. So I started to practice there. And then after 2 years, we quickly outgrew that. And now we're in the space we've been in for 23 years now.
Wow. So, that's awesome.
Yeah, that's always an interesting question, though, for people. I think professionally, business-wise, as well as personally. Should we practice together? Should we go separately? Yeah. No matter what career you're in, whether it's a medical career or you're in any kind of business, we have lots of friends that do separate practices and lots that go together, and a lot of variations therein. So something works for us, certainly doing it this way was a natural fit, and we have the personalities so that we're able to really blend that and merge it well. Some people butt heads all the time, and then we talk to them about maybe starting separate practices and working it out a little differently or separate hours and so forth. But it's always been a natural fit. It's worked.
Oh, good. So how has your business? Because it sounds like you really had a good idea, probably a much better idea than most people do when they start. But over the years, has there been any kind of changes that have come about kind of in your goal and your vision?
Well, certainly, things have evolved for us and changed a lot over the years. One thing that hasn't changed is our passion for serving children of the community. But then what's changed is that that's become a global mission for us. And so when we started out, we had the passion for transforming the health of children. And our vehicle for that is, as chiropractors, is educating people about the importance of a healthy spine and nervous system and all the things that come with a chiropractic healthy lifestyle, nutrition and proper sleep and all the different things, aspects of that. We took that from our community to our tri-state area to working with other docs and other projects on bringing that as a global mission and reaching out to kids all over the world in order to raise the bar and help the children, the health of the children all over. So we've done that in a whole bunch of different ways. I don't know if you want to maybe mention about Kids Day or some of the things that we've done in order to reach that and make that goal happen.
Mm-hmm.
Within 2 years of practice, our success really started to spread, and we were asked to speak on a lot of different programs. So we were speaking in front of thousands and thousands of doctors every year on many of the most popular programs in the industry. And, so we had a big travel schedule. We were speaking 30, 40 weekends a year. Wow. So we had to adjust our practice hours to like a Monday through Thursday type of situation. So we can leave on Friday, go to speak at some city around the world, and then come back Sunday night. So, that was one adjustment that we made. Mm-hmm. And also, because we serve so many children in our practice, there are some considerations with the hours as well, because in the mornings we have moms with babies and young children come in, and then we have the afternoon after school rush with all the kids that are in school. So you have to keep those things in mind as well. But we created some programs that were penetrating communities around the world. We founded Kids Day America, which is an international health, safety, and environmental awareness day, where the whole community comes together to educate the children on these important issues. So, that started taking up more and more time, having to support, those types of projects. So, when you have a crazy schedule, you're practicing, you're speaking, you're supporting, different programs, you really have to develop the time management skills to be able to accomplish that.
So kind of just following on that, can you talk a little bit about how, when you guys are starting all these different projects, and some of them seem like they're, very, very large, how do you set about, okay, this is what we need to get done the next month, this is what we need to get done later? How do you organize and prioritize your all those projects that you have?
Yeah, we kind of break it down two different ways. One is the big picture way of the big goals and how we need to, what we want to get done and how we're going to make that happen. And then the rest are, because we do so many projects, is setting smaller project goals and project timeframes. And each one has a different time frame that we'll need to move on and make sure that we're trying to check off that we've gotten certain things accomplished by a certain time in order to reach that big goal.
Yeah, sometimes it's like management by brush fire technique. Gets the grease. So,
you don't like to talk about that, but that can be reality.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, you have all the planning and all of your processes that go on, but you're always throwing curveballs, so you have to be able to adapt and think on your feet, and but it's part of the fun of it all too.
That's right.
So how do you guys go about planning just your individual days and weeks? I know for us, one of the biggest, well, I don't know, there's a lot of challenges, so it's hard to say that it's one of the biggest challenges, but one of the challenges that we face is at least for me, we just constantly forget an appointment here, an appointment there. I was supposed to go to this luncheon, or I was supposed to call that person back, and I never did. So how do you guys make sure that you're staying on that same page through your daily activities and weekly, and how do you handle that?
Yeah, we have definitely tried to stay as organized as we can on calendars. And we have a Google Calendar, family calendar, that we keep track of all of our activities. So we have also a giant wall calendar at the office, kind of an old-fashioned one.
Yeah.
And everyone's assigned, all 5 of us are assigned our own colors. There's a family activity color or a professional color, and then each one of the kids have a different color, so that whether I'm entering it in on the computer or on the wall calendar, everyone, we know just by a glance whose activity it is by the color that it is, and that keeps it straight for everyone. Really, some of the things are recurring every week that are the same. I say we schedule our lives around our kids half the time, most of the time probably, because we have 3 really busy kids, a 9-year-old, a 13-year-old, and a 15-year-old, and they're all involved in, you think we're busy, like they have their clones, they have activities and so many things that they're doing all the time.
Yeah.
My 9-year-old does, 10 different dance classes every week and competition dance, and my oldest does competition cheer and cheer team with school and 4 dance classes on top of that, and she's president of her student class, and just activity after activity, varsity cheer team, all that stuff. And our son does 2 soccer teams in the fall and 2 basketball teams in the winter and 2 baseball teams in the spring. And so there's always lots of, we say we're full-time chauffeurs and like part-time everything else.
Yeah, I bet.
Because we're scheduling, we have the practice, and we have our coaching and working with other docs and all of our other projects we do, and global support and social marketing. And then we have all of our kids and family activities as well. So there's always something going, but making use of those calendars for us, I think, is really a staple, because it keeps us all on board. We're all linked together, and so we can see as a family what activities are coming up and what we need to do, and then individually as well. And we try to teach responsibility to the kids so that they keep track of that as well, and know if they have something special on their timeline, that it's their responsibility to make sure that everybody knows about that, so that we can keep it together as a family. And when we travel on all of our speaking engagements and things, we travel as a family, so they all do come with us. We're going to Florida really shortly here to speak again, and we love to do that. I think that that's a teachable moment for the kids. We love them being involved in that. The experience of, coming, whether it's being on stage or backstage, or learning to interact with people. That's a really great thing. We don't want them just doing this all day long. So being a part of the real world is great.
Yeah.
One of the things that really works for us too is our practice is the home base. So when the kids are done from school, they come to the practice, and we have extra room in the back with a conference table. They can get their homework done. There's a lounge area. They can hang out. There's snacks. So, and then from the practice, all of the patients know them, and they have kids that come in that they get to play with. Where's Sydney? Where's Skylar? Where's Lexi? Haven't come out. So, they always are interacting. And then we use, from the practice there, as the base camp, and then they're off to the dance classes or the baseball. Everything's within a mile or 2 of our practice. So, if we're not able, we can literally take them somewhere and be back in 3 to 5 minutes. So the patients don't even know we're gone. Okay. Or sometimes, having a long-term wellness practice, where we know a lot of the families. And, we know they're heading in that direction when it's they
grab the kids for us.
So we definitely take advantage of that. And they're happy to help out, because
it's a community.
They're so appreciative of the results they've gotten in the practice. So, it's a whole family affair, and, we're all together, and, it really works well for us.
Good. That's incredible. I love that you have the emphasis on family. And then it sounds like your kiddos all definitely are striving for greatness, like mom and dad too. So that's good to be in that environment.
Kind of naturally entrepreneurial and competitive, so
Yeah.
but that's a good thing. You know, we like them to be. We don't want just the participation trophy. We want, which is okay, but we want them to like really strive for doing as well as they can.
Yeah, it seems like every month they set up a new store in the office. You know, what is it? Slime now, and they were selling. She made up tank tops, bracelets,
back to school supplies.
She actually turned one of our closets into a photo studio one time and was taking pictures. Patient. She had a backdrop. She put a little teddy bear on there. Picture.
How creative!
They're always doing something in the office and working the front desk. So it really is a blessing.
Awesome. That's awesome. Well, so besides the kiddos being just, you know, absolutely awesome at like coming up with creative activities, what would you say each of your strengths are? You know, what do each of you kind of bring to the table as the strong points in life in general, not just business?
Yeah, well, you know, most people that know us always share with us that we balance each other out. You know, she has a certain energy, you know, different than I have. You know, she's good looking and I'm good
we got that in common.
Got hair. So, you know, I focus more on the creative side and the visionary side and networking and growth. And you know, she's much better at task managing and execution and follow through and making sure everything stays sane. So we really get to, you know, balance each other out. And, you know, where she has a weakness, I have a strength, and where I have a weakness, she has the strength. So it really does work out well that way because we're going 1,000 miles an hour. And so when we can read each other's minds, you know, many times as well. So, you know, it's a lot of things don't have to be spoken either.
That's good.
Yeah, for sure. I think Stu kind of wrapped it up there that I'm more detail orientated and okay with doing that. You know, I enjoy being creative. I write on the computer. I'll do he'll come up with a topic and I'll write the story or, you know, come up with a project, or if we're doing a new funnel, a business funnel on there, he'll come up with it theoretically and I'll fill in all the details and be the creative one. And it kind of balances each other off because once I've created it, then I bounce it back off and he's like, yeah, okay, that's all good, but you missed this, this, and this. And then I have to rip the whole thing apart, but I'm okay and recreate it. And then we go back and forth that way. And that's kind of our creative process. And it works well because, you know, as detailed as I think I make something, then I look at it and realize and help me to realize, wait a minute, you wrote all these details and you missed the big picture. You know, and so that's a good thing to have. I think people that have kind of opposite strengths and weaknesses can work well together. And that's how we've survived, you know, in practice and in life. People would laugh because they wonder, like, when are you apart? And we're like, yeah, we're really not. We're together 24/7. We, you know, are together at home. We're together at work. We're together when we travel. We drive together back and forth to work. We do everything. But for miraculously, that's been a rhythm that's just always worked for us. And we really wouldn't know any other way to do it. But that's been a good thing. And I think if you're able to kind of figure out, you know, if you're newer in a relationship, you might have to figure it out a little bit. But naturally, we found out and kind of fell into the roles of who would do what roles business-wise, who would, you know, he'll maybe develop a marketing plan, but then I'll fill in the details and work with the staff. I'll do the staff training. He might intercede in, okay, which is the final pick with hiring, but won't want to get involved in all the little details along the way. So it works well when you're able to merge that together because we don't want to duplicate each other's roles. We're really kind of happy doing what we do. So that's the strength of it all.
Yeah, and one other thing we learned early on in practice was, we had to have just one of us overseeing the staff. We had our practice staff of a few people, and we had our consulting and seminar staff, which was about a dozen people. So, we found out that, the staff would come to us and say, I'd say to do something, and they'd say, well, Dr. Teri said yes, or, or the opposite would be, Teri would say something to them, Dr. Stu said to do this. So, so my skill set really wasn't great managing people as much. So it's something that she has much more, insight and a natural fit for. So that was another area that we had to make sure worked in the practice and in the other businesses as well.
Yep.
And managing the staff is a good training ground for having children. Managing children, that doesn't sound right.
No, right.
Kids, they don't say, but mom said this, but dad said this, but mom said. So we kind of worked that out too.
Yeah, we were married for 9 years before we had kids. And, so literally every day for 9 years, we had to hear from the parents, in-laws, and from our patients, when you're going to have kids. And,
yes.
But, we were so busy that, we always said, well, when things slow down, and, we'll be all right. And actually, it never does. So,
good to know.
The right time. The right time is actually whenever you
the right time
do it. So, but
when God says it's the right time, it's
that's
the right.
Yep, I will agree with that. So then, how do you decide who does the task that nobody wants to do? Whether it's who gets to take out the trash, or who gets to deal with customer service, or whatever that may be.
Yeah, call me mom. I get to do all that stuff. So I'd say that's probably the way it goes. It's just
yeah, and then make the kids do the chores too.
Yeah, I try. I was joking with that with a long-term patient yesterday, because we've known each other since before our kids were born. And I said, I thought it would get easier, as when they're little, they want to be so helpful and they learn everything, and you take the time and you teach them, and all of a sudden they become teenagers, and you think like, okay, now I can really take advantage of this and throw all this responsibility on them. By the time they're teenagers, they're off doing like a million other things. And so it's great. It kind of backfires once in a while, but we're trying.
Yeah, helping mom Windex is not fun anymore.
Yeah, no, exactly. So I kind of get to do all the unwanted stuff, but that's okay. That's the balance.
That's right.
So what time management type strategies do you all use to balance things between the office and home, and how has that developed as times went on?
Well, the time management is always a work in progress, because there's so many curveballs being thrown at us. But, we have our patient time when we're serving our patients, and you have to be 100% focused with the patients. So, you want to be in that bubble with them, and everything else has to, wait. And, and there's always a lot of things to do with all of our blogging and podcasts and, media interviews and everything. So, those are times when you need to be, secluded as well. We're on a connection with a major TV show. Everything else has to stop, and we have to be present time for that. But what's great is that if we're practicing, traveling, lecturing, consulting, or doing the media appearances, we're always together. So we always have a good sense of what's going on. But there is no perfect time management schedule for us, especially the kids like, I want to go to my friend's house or whatever. Yeah,
I would say we used to be more disciplined with that before kids, and now we have to have a lot of more flexibility worked into it. There's definitely our hard and fast things like our patient time and times that we reserve to do certain aspects of our business, and then we know when kids have to be picked up or driven to school and those different things. But then we have some flexibility thrown in as well. And we do make sure that we have time in the mornings to get to the gym, to do our workout, to do, we have a great little organic place that we go to for lunch pretty much every day. down the street and get our juice and bone broth and organic salads and all that stuff. So there are certain things that become more hard and fast that are worked into the schedule, but then we have a little bit of wiggle room as well. And that's important, I think, to for us anyway, to have that, because when those extra things are thrown at you, you have a little room to work it out. And that's the way we keep it all moving.
And I was never a morning person. I wouldn't mind staying in bed a little bit longer in the morning, as much as purpose-driven I was and how much I loved work and serving and contributing and making an impact. You know, it was not easy getting out of bed in the morning, and, you know, a little sluggish. And about 2-3 years ago, I just made one little switch, and it's really been transformative, where, you know, I'm like drawn out of bed in the morning with clarity and energy. And, you know, I've always had a healthy eating style, healthier than, you know, just about anyone out there. But, you know, about 3 years ago, I gave up all the sugar, grains, and breads, and, you know, started eating a lot more healthy, organic, saturated fats, and, you know, it's just transformative. So, you know, there's other things too, but so now, you know, getting up earlier in the morning, I'm finding that you could be much more productive. That extra hour or two makes a big difference. It sets the stage for the whole day. So, you know, you have to be healthy. You have to be in state, and, you know, so if you make you know, use those strategies to get in a good, healthy state, you're so much more productive. So that has to come first.
Yep, I agree.
So it sounds like you guys, just due to the way that your schedule is, that you are pretty much in some form working almost all the time. Do you guys ever take time that's just decide, hey, listen, we need to do family time, we need to do husband-wife time, and if so, how do you decide that? How do you plan that out?
Yeah, we that definitely is important to do, because he could work 24/7. Pre-kids, we did, I would say, worked 80, 100-hour weeks. Like, we were just for, you know, our first I don't know how many years we went. We lived right next to our practice, and so I was not uncommon for me to be here at 2 a.m. typing up stuff, and I don't know, maybe that was before laptops. I mean, I guess we had one, but I did a lot of stuff in the office, like even late nights. I would stay creating Kids Day manuals, like back when things were before you had the internet and all different things, 20 whatever years ago. It wasn't uncommon to do that. Now I still do some of that at home, but balancing it really does become important. And I think once, you know, our kids came along, we really saw that. Thank goodness at that point I was able to, we had a couple of associates at the practice. We had a big staff to help us running the company. And so I was able to take a lot of time off and reincorporate, well, I mean, 3 months, you know, it's not a ton of time, but then come back for a few hours, bring the baby. We always brought our kids to work with us, always had a room. When we expanded the office, we designed a special office, right, so that had extra thick carpeting, and the pack and play would go here, and we put the bassinet here. We had all these things in mind right from the get-go, and so we always knew that would all be incorporated, and bringing the family and creating, because that's what we stand for, it's creating that right along the way. And so having, yes, we do work a lot, but yet our kids know that we are able to take family time too. So if they're with us here and they have late night activities, we'll all go to dinner together. If we're not able to be home for dinner, at least we can be out for dinner. If we're home, then we try to make sure we're doing family dinners, that everyone's, present time with that. And we just had, we're just past Thanksgiving, we really took a nice 4-day weekend and really enjoyed ourselves, and we were home. And so we took the time. We always go chop down our tree on Friday and go pick that out and decorate and pull all the decorations out, and we start the Christmas season and take time to do that. So having those blocks of time where we can block that off or have mom and dad time is really important as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's a James Michener quote, which I'm not going to be able to memorize for you here, but the gist of it is that, we don't really distinguish between our work and our play most of the time, because to us it's always the same.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a very congruent that we're always living the chiropractic wellness lifestyle together in the practice, in our life, in the businesses, in our travel. So to us it's all the same.
Yeah, nothing wrong with that. So is there any examples you can give of, I know we have, if it's a crisis situation at home or at the office, whether that be kiddos sick or a snowstorm or something, has there been, any examples of crisis situations at home and you had to, do something different at work, or at work and you had to do something different at home?
Yeah, we've been in practice. We're celebrating 25 years now. So, practice in a marriage. So we've had a few, for sure along the way, that we could definitely pull out. I mean, we've for sure had lots of major snowstorms here in the Northeast. We're hit by Hurricane Sandy really bad. We live at the Jersey Shore. So that one was a biggie. We could name off a bunch. My daughter had whooping cough when she was little. That was crazy. Just a year old. But one probably more recently, at least than that, was my last pregnancy, which was extremely rough. I wanted to have a much bigger family. We wanted at least 5 kids, and we have 3 because I have really, really difficult pregnancies, which you wouldn't think, living such a healthy chiropractic lifestyle. But it's just the way genetically I tend to have that in our family. And I for sure took that to an extreme, especially during my last one. And so unexpectedly, I can barely literally come out with the 6th realizing you're pregnant, and passed out and bedridden. So
wow.
Had those 9 months, 10 months of me being home.
Passed out would have been welcome, but she was actually 7 months of excruciating pain with every complication you can imagine, semi-conscious, numb. She wasn't able to have the strength to take a sip of water. So
my worst day, I threw up 15 times. That was so. It was a regular occurrence too. It was really, really bad. It's really rough. So because it was so hard, thank goodness we had really good practice and good well-run company. But having me just pulled out like that so unexpectedly, even though we were hoping to have another baby, I was hoping that this pregnancy I had really geared up. We had a couple years between those babies. I thought, I'm going to make sure I'm super healthy. I'm working out all the time. I tried to put some weight on. Not easy for me to do, but so that I'd have a little bit of a buffer zone, knowing that I'd probably be pretty sick during it. And so we did everything we could to prepare for it. Had an associate or 2, I don't remember at the time, but having me just wiped out with no time to prepare for that.
Mm-hmm.
One day you're 100% and the next I'm just done. Yeah. And so by that, he also, with 2 other littles at home, his attention had to be drawn to, oh my gosh, now I can't even be present time at the practice or with the company or the clients, because I have to be making sure my wife survives the day and my other 2 kids are taken care of. So it was a pretty tough time to be able to go through that, and seeing how that then would affect us. I'm semi-conscious, so he's just taking care of everything or trying to the best at home. We had a nanny too helping us, but that she would do the best she can taking care of the other 2 kids, but it was hard with me and she couldn't really do anything. And so he'd try to take care of me in the morning. He'd race to the office, adjust a bunch of patients, race home, try to check on me at lunch, race back, see some more patients, or race home, do that. Yeah. So the attention and the focus, where he normally would be, have great clarity, overseeing everything, he couldn't be there. And for me, when I'm the one that normally would monitor the staff and do all the staff check-ins and meetings and so forth, that was just instantly gone. as well as, you know, me not being there to adjust. So that's definitely like, there was a big adjustment period for that.
Sure.
Yeah, she had the severest form of hyperemesis, and you know, we had to cancel our speaking schedule, and you know, it was a challenging time, but you know, it's also a blessing at the same time as well, and you know, it helped us strengthen and mature, and you know, at the same time, we had an unscrupulous employee that sabotaged some things in the business. So, you know, those are all things that you know, mature and strengthen with, and you come out better on the other side as long as you stay on purpose and have faith, and you know, you let go, let God, and you can't control everything, and you know, you just do the best you can, and it's a learning process.
Yeah. Well, I know that you talked about, you know, you hired on good staff members or having associates, and then even just the whole, you know, life happens and you do what you got to do and let it come at you as it is, and have faith, and everything will work out. But what have you maybe learned to better prepare yourself at home or in the office for instances like those?
Well, one is Stu alluded to, we did have someone that that was, you know, one of the key people at our office, and turned out to be very unscrupulous and really sabotaged so much for us. And so you learn to, I think, I don't want to say guard yourself. You know, I'm a very trusting person. I love to love people, and take them for how they present themselves. But at the same time, you know, really be wiser and have a good learning experience from that, and be smart along the way. That to listen to your gut, and trust yourself, but be strong throughout it, and make sure that, you know, you can always, no matter what happens along the way, to always look for the silver lining. You know, look for the lesson. As God doesn't do things to us, He does things for us. And so what's the lesson that we're going to be able to pull out of this? Because, you know, you have to have faith that at the end of the day, there's a reason that this is happening, and there's going to be something bigger and better waiting for us if we can rise up to meet that challenge. And so really finding what that is, and being able to fulfill it, I think is what we would walk away with.
Yeah, we gave the staff a lot of freedom and trust, and you know, it's something that we learned. You have to be, you know, more hands-on. You have to really, you know, be in the details too. You can't be too far away, because you know, you never know what's going to happen. So it really does help you get stronger in the long run.
Good.
Well, you alluded to earlier that you've started getting up much earlier. And so do you have any quotes, affirmations, what are you doing in those extra hours? Is it just extra work time, or do you have a routine to get that day started?
One of the quotes that comes to mind is an Ayn Rand quote that is, struggle and unhappiness are enormously unimportant. So many people focus on the obstacle and the block, and when you do that, you take your focus away from where you're going and what the end result should be. So, you know, even though we had some challenges, it's not something that we dwell over. It's just, okay, this is the next step. And so, you know, I think that, you know, not focusing on the glass being half empty but half full, you know, really is an important thing. You want to have a positive vision and be able to focus on that, and you know, that's where you'll head.
Yeah, and we try to, you know, as part of our morning routine, we'll get up. Now it's a matter of getting 3 kids off to school and getting them taken care of, and then getting our workout in, getting prepped and ready to go into the office, going through kind of our checklist of what we need to accomplish today and what the priorities are, big picture, and then some of the little details that we need to make sure we follow through on, and then go in and serve the patients.
So in the 25 years of marriage and business, do you have any real, what you would consider kind of a difference maker that you've learned, some type of something that you can pass on in any business or relationship wise, just something that has helped you all stay strong and get to where you are today?
Mhm. We have a lot of friends that aren't together, married couples that aren't together anymore. And, a lot of couples are struggling out there. And, we're in our own bubble. We're so busy doing what we're doing. But as we're trying to support some of those couples out there and finding, what's best, one of them remarked, looking at us, saying that we hit the jackpot. Our being together and our life and everything, seems to be perfect. And, it comes down to, I think, having shared values and having, similar philosophy and purpose, because, it just makes for such a congruent life. So, that's, I think, I don't know if that's something that you can necessarily, teach to someone.
Right.
It's just, we came from the same place in school, and, we were in the same clubs at, different times, same seminars, same, we had the same friends. All of our friends are the same. Yep. With each other. So, it's just something that we don't think about too much. We're more innate driven or intuitive driven, and, just listen to that voice, and, it always leads us in the right direction.
Yeah, absolutely. I think just that Stu really hit it with saying our shared values and making sure that, for us, that would be God, family, chiropractic, and our principles thereof. And having that kind of innate driven life, and being able to be persistent in whatever it is, persistent in striving for greatness, persisting through some sort of tragedy, knowing that, we're going to have something better at the other side of that. So I think that's part of the lesson as well, and what we share, because that pulls you through the good days and the not so good days, to make sure that we're continuing to hold those values tight and getting to keeping in a good place.
Yep.
Yeah, a healthy marriage makes for a healthy business, and it's I couldn't imagine trying to go through business if we weren't on the same page and had a different mindset and different priorities. So it's just a natural progression. And again, you have to take care of yourself first. You have to be healthy, making right choices, eating properly, exercising. I mean, if you could share that together, then that gives you the foundation for when you're in the business and you're planning and strategizing and accomplishing and having an impact. We're in alignment with it.
Yeah, and we knew we shared all the same values as far as how we would want to raise our kids, and some of the bigger choices that become hard for people when we're looking at health choices for our kids, and the different things that we want to do, and issues like vaccination and things, or home birthing, things that might seem foreign or unknown to people. We had talked about all the hard questions before, during our period when we were dating and early in marriage, and all those all along the way. So it was just a natural, easy progression.
Yep. Staying on the same page.
That's right.
So I'm going to kind of add in an extra question here that we don't normally ask, because I think you guys are kind of in a unique position for it. And that is, we know of all your friends that have been in business together, that you've seen that haven't worked out or that have worked out. If you have somebody like a new couple that is getting ready to, make that decision, do we go into business together, or they have a business together and they're like getting married? I guess it could go that way too. But are there any any advice that you've kind of observed over the years where you can say, oh, I don't know if you two should be in business together, or yeah, you guys will be fine kind of thing? Are there any, I guess, characteristics that you guys look for in either one of those?
That's a very individualized question, because there's so many variables between, couples, and, some of them can work together, some can't, some can't even be in the same building on opposite days. So,
I think, there can't be two chiefs. And so although we can be equals as a husband and wife, equals as business partners, you still have to know who's going to, I don't want to say be like an ultimate authority, but when we talked earlier, we said, well, you're going to be in charge of certain things and I'm going to be in charge of certain things, kind of knowing that realm. And if you're able to work that out, and that would be for each couple to sit down, and even if you'd have to graph it out on a piece of paper or call us and we'd work, call somebody like us that's established, and been out there and making this work for all those years to see, well, will this work for us? Who's going to be in charge of all these different tasks? And if you're both saying, I am, yeah. So then it might not work, because you both want to duplicate services. And we need to be finding the different roles, but it should be a natural fit. You don't want to be forced into, well, that's going to be what you're going to take care of, and that's going to be, because then you might not be happy with it. Some people can flip-flop roles around after a while and find their path and their way, but there are a lot of variables. So for some people, they can work together 24/7, and that works. For some people, they're going to say, you know what, I can't work with you at all. I know that. I know people that are just like, that's it. We would not be at home together if we were at work together every day. And there are others that can find a variable in between. So we have some couples that I've worked with some couples that have an office that's big enough that they'll kind of split it down the middle and share a waiting room, but the husband will take one side and he does something quite different than the wife. He'll do his own examination and reports with patients. He'll see only his own patients, and he might want to do more sports injuries or accident work or rehab or do different things. And the wife says, no, I really want a pediatric pregnancy practice, and I want something that's completely different, wellness, all cash, something else. So it's important that be in its own space. And so that would be, separate. And maybe you want different things on the walls, and you want a different atmosphere in the office, different smells in the office, different things. So you would want that different space for yourself in order to give that kind of individualized care and feel fulfilled when you're there. If that's what I want, and I'm in his place, he wouldn't want that other practice, but where it's going to be something completely different, he wouldn't want, essential oils and, and this different smell and baby pictures all over the office or whatever it is. So you both have to know that you're going to be happy and fulfilled in your space in your office. If that can be one that's under a shared roof, that's great. If that's something that, that's just not going to be a natural fit for me, you can't force yourself, a round peg into a square hole, because you're not going to fulfill your whole potential. And then you're not going to be practicing the way you want to. You're not going to be seeing the number of patients you want to. You're going to be struggling in business where you should be, flourishing. And so you want to make sure that I think those are some of the things that you really want to look at on a practical side for making that work. And then things like, do we have kids already? Are we going to have kids? How quick is that going to happen? Are you going to stay home, one of you? Are we going to take the baby with us? Am I going to now start to work part-time? So as he said, there are a lot of variables when you get into it. All those things can be worked out, and it can 100% work, whether you're in separate practices or shared and so forth. But it's a matter of looking at, how you're all going to be happy. Because let's face it, if you're not happy at work, you're not going to be happy at home. If you're not happy at home, you're not going to be happy at work. So it's all, you need to find that path to make it all cohesive.
Yeah, we coach a lot of husband and wife teams, and we have them fill out surveys in the beginning to find out, what their goals and their strengths and weaknesses are. And, it all comes down to communication. Yep. So you have to communicate. And, so many couples, don't communicate, and the whole Venus Mars thing. So I said this, but you
which
heard
is very
that.
real.
So as Teri went through some of the laundry lists there, you have to communicate ahead of time. Just don't throw yourself into it and try to figure it out. And you have to look at the variables like having a baby, or if you have other interests. And also you need an exit strategy as well. You have to look at all these things before you go into business with each other. And, we have very close friends that are very successful, that they practice Monday, Wednesday, Friday in different locations. And then every Tuesday, Thursday morning, they go for a walk, and, they're able to discuss and catch up on everything. And, it works terrific.
Yeah, and able to be terrifically successful independently, so that you can handle the overhead, you can handle the staff, you can do, all of that yourself. So there's lots of different parts of the mix, but there's always a way to make it work.
I like that.
So our last question for you all is, what is your favorite thing to do together? I know doesn't happen just the two of you very often, but you might have to remember back before kids. But what is your favorite thing that really brings you all together, that you enjoy doing with each other?
Well, we don't do it as much anymore, but we used to really enjoy fine dining, and we have some friends that are celebrity chefs that are major superstars out there, and we like tasting menus and nice environments and service. But with 3 kids in our schedule, it doesn't happen as much anymore. So we enjoy, when we have time, is to get a whole bunch of good or organic ingredients, and we like to be able to prepare food and cook, and and travel, sightseeing. We used to, more than now, is whenever we would have a speaking engagement, we always used to try to tie on an extra half day or day so we can do something.
Explore a new city, go to a museum.
So, we're able to have a lot of shared experience, but it's something zen about, cooking and preparing, a good, healthy meal. So, I think that's something that, because we're on 24/7, as we've been talking about, really difference from our, work and our play, and we barely scratched the surface with sharing with you all the projects. But, I would say, cooking really does give us a little escape for a little bit.
Yeah, and it's something that we can do together with each other, but we can also share with our children. Yeah. And that's really important as well, for them to, I think, share in that experience and learn all about choosing the right path in their lifestyle and for their life. And so we love to be able to incorporate that whole family experience in so much of what we do. So we don't get to take like the ski trips fly off to Banff and be away at the plaza in New York City or whatever. Like we used to do all these crazy, great adventures pre-kids, but now we have a whole different adventure, and we like to do it with them. So, we do have our moments that we're able to get away by ourselves, but having that family time, I think, is really key for us. And being able to kind of wind down, and food is definitely a good way to do it.
That's right. Yeah.
I think that's one of the most important things, looking at today's society and all the stresses and distractions and the problems that we're seeing is the family time, and having a family dinner, even if it's just Sunday dinner with the family, you don't realize how much you enjoy it until you do it. And it's so easy to get away from that. And, we have a lot of late evenings. We're not eating dinner at 9, 10 o'clock sometimes. So, so that's when we do it. So, everybody's schedule is
Everybody
different.
finds their rhythm and their schedule. But, yeah, finding that unwinding time is super important. I think, too, Stu started to mention how stressful society is today. And I think, I mean, you don't have to go far to look at how many people are on medication for anxiety and coming into your offices and different things with anxiety disorders. It's crazy that, you know, and yet you don't like to compare, but you can look at different people's lifestyles and think, gosh, that person's extremely anxious and they're having all these issues. Yet, if you look at someone else's life that's doing 100 million gazillion things a day, and yet they kind of handle it with ease. And yet the other person might just be trying to make it through, you know, and really have a simple thing. So what's the difference? I mean, there's obviously how their nervous system is working and lots of different variables. But number one is just how to handle stress and having an outlet and having an unwind time. And not only for us as grownups, but sharing that with children and teaching that to our families in our practice is how to handle stress in a really healthy way. And I do have a lot of people comment to me how, like, oh my gosh, I don't know, anything could happen. We just had that happen in the office, and something that my daughter thought was a major crisis, you know, that you left my bag home or something happened. And the patient went back to Stu and they're like, oh my gosh, your wife is amazing. How did she just handle that situation? And I don't even know what I said, but you know, it's just being able to, like, whatever it is, just roll it on. It's all good. You know, like, we can just make anything work. And sometimes the more that's thrown at you, the better you get at that. But it's also just enabling your body to just kind of roll through life and be able to find an outlet to handle stress and know that, you know, at the end of the day, really how meaningful is whatever's happening at that given moment, and being able to, you know, to process through it. But family dinners, eating together, sharing that time, nurturing each other, really key to growing it all. And for us, you know, having that time at the practice with the family just makes it wrap up even better, and having that, you know, just 100%.
Yeah.
Well, I want to give you guys a chance to, especially for our audience of married entrepreneurs and specifically the chiropractors that are out there. Can you kind of just briefly kind of talk about what you guys offer as coaches and that kind of thing?
Well, the newest project is drwellnessmom.com. It's her brand out there to be able to educate the world about raising healthy children. That will be seen on iTunes and YouTube and other various platforms out there, along with the Wellness Parenting Revolution. And you know, the Kids Day America International is you know, one of the bright spots in the profession and in the world, to be able to involve the whole community around children's health and wellness in a worldwide event. And you know, the newest part of that will be kicking off in spring of 2018, is the first annual chiropractic walk run for children's health and wellness. Yeah. You know, walk and runs and 5Ks are very popular out there, but you know, every one of them is to fight some disease or stamp out an illness and to support some allopathic cause. So this is the first one that will be able to support a positive wellness vision. And, you know, we're looking to have 1,000 or 2,000 sanctioned sites where the doctors are leading their communities in a worldwide event. So it's going to bring in a lot of new families into health and wellness, and bring in a lot of publicity. So, you know, this is a you know, really big project. The leadership of our industry and different associations are on board, and it's going wide very quickly. So, you know, we're looking to have this as an annual event that grows every year, and people all over the world will be running and walking with their families for raising healthy kids.
Absolutely. We're so excited about that. And so we love to do everything from coaching chiropractors and chiropractic couples. I coach women chiropractors, anyone that wants to expand themselves or their practice and learn more about how to better serve their community and serve the kids. And then getting out and helping moms and helping moms in the community. And one of the things that any moms listening or any of the docs listening is to look at getting involved in a Wellness Moms America or Wellness Moms International chapter, in which you can be a resource or have a resource in your community to go to learn about living a wellness lifestyle. And so attending those meetings or running a chapter yourself, I facilitate all of those, and we invite moms to really get involved with that and find out more about it.
Yeah, I don't want to gloss over that. That's really a big thing that she's doing there is, helping the docs start a Wellness Moms chapter in their community, because every community needs a place and a resource where moms can come to learn how to raise healthy kids, because every childhood illness without exception is skyrocketing today. Kids are getting sicker and sicker and on more drugs, and parents don't know where to go and where to turn. So they can come to a Wellness Moms International chapter, new moms, expected moms, mom with children with health challenges, and moms already living the wellness lifestyle that don't get support from their friends or in-laws, so they can come and learn every month about the different health topics for their kids, and in a very safe and nurturing environment. So we have dozens and dozens of new chapters starting all over the world every single month, and it's something that we're trying to make the world a better place. So if you go to drwellnessmom.com, drwellnessmom.com, you can put your email in there and you'll get more information on it.
Okay. Awesome. Those are all really, really great things. And we'll definitely make sure that we keep some links to those in everywhere that this recording goes.
Yep. I know we want to congratulate you both on 25 years. That's incredible. And thank you so very much for coming on and sharing your story and your history and any tips and tricks. And we just wish you lots more luck and health and wellness in your future.
Great. Well, thank you
so much.
I want to acknowledge both of you. I mean, new in the business and getting your life underway and taking the initiative to do these podcasts and provide the content and value and contribution to other couples out there around the world. So that's great that you're off to a good start with that. I know all the work that goes into that. So
Thank you.
All you do.
Thank you guys.